Good evening, everybody. I think we're
Hello.
live now.
It says it. See if I can find us on
Okay, are
YouTube.
you ready? Are you ready for your debut? Hey, not yet. Not yet. So, real quick, let me swap over. And we have a special guest that's going to be joining us here in just a minute, folks. So, let me say first, first off, say hello to Nick's Coins and HVAC Residential Basics for all your AC, heating, and air conditioning needs. Is your AC blowing hot air, or is that your wife? If either case, you better hurry up and call HVAC Residential Basics at 1-888 Hot Air. That's 1-888 Hot Air. HVAC Residential Basics. We fix air conditioners, not marital problems.
I hope the wife isn't watching.
No, she's in the other room.
Oh, goodness.
So, hey,
Thank
thank
you.
you for coming up on panel. It's great. This is a chance for me to interact with you two. So that's awesome. And okay, give me a second. So, real quick, let's say hello to everyone who's joined us. Mr. Polybuck, thank you for giving a thumbs up. And if you're here, great. That's awesome. And always appreciate you being a great mentor to me. And we got, who else we got? We got Wally's Trains and Coin Collecting. Good evening, sir. Hope you're having fun with your trains. In a proper way, of course.
Sure.
We got Bob here. Good evening, good sir. Hope you are doing well. And we have my partner in crime out there, Mr. Resnick. Good evening. Thanks for joining us here. Appreciate you being here, buddy. My brother. That's what I meant to say. And we got, who else we got? We got Silver Gator. What he said? Hi, how y'all doing? I'm so glad to meet me to see you. I guarantee evening, Don and Marty. Well, without further ado,
I think you should highlight Andy's comment about Nick's Coins.
Oh, where did he say that? All hail Nick's Coins, who is relentlessly correct. True. And of course,
thank you,
ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, the star of the show.
Hey,
buddy. Good evening, everybody. This is the Chief of Security here, and today's K9 news and Chewy toy information for the 22nd of January 2022. I'd like to take you over to Chewy.com. Would you help me out there, Daddy? There we go. Where we can check the current sale prices on Chewy toys and other things related to us canines. Oh, wait. Hey, come on, Daddy. Put me back on big screen. Okay. Everybody knows where to go now. Okay. We'll put you back in the big screen. Okay. There you go. How's that? No. Over here.
Does he have a wish list out there on Chewy.com?
He really wants this treat, so I'm trying to keep him in screen and stuff. So, okay, you'll get this. Okay, so once you say your one extra thing before you go. Oh, okay, folks. It's actually for Daddy. Daddy, just want to let you know I left you something extra outside. You good boy. So here he is, everybody. If you haven't seen him before, so he's happy dog.
Ow.
Okay. You really want this treat? Here you go.
He's tired.
Good boy. Good boy. Hey, guess what? Daddy's really nice. Give you one more.
Ooh, an extra.
Cute.
Okay, folks. I'm gonna go off camera. Let me get him situated. Be right back.
Gonna put the baby to bed.
Yeah, good looking puppy.
It's a nice dog.
Looks like it. So if that was my dog, I got a little dog, and he'd just swallow the treats.
Yeah.
It chomps one time, and they're gone. It's like, come on.
Yes, I had a little Maltese before we had to put her down, and she was so little she could fit in your pocketbook.
Oh no.
So my daughter liked to do that. So
Yeah, those are neat little dogs.
Yes, and surprisingly, she was not a barker. She did not bark at all, hardly.
Oh.
So that was very, very good.
Yeah, I see all different flavors of them. Some will just come up on you and love up on you, and the other ones are possessive.
Okay, we are back. So Hope everybody enjoyed seeing the chief of security. I'm working on a little bit for him.
I think that's amazing. He's adorable.
yeah. Everybody's requesting him. So,
Sure. Why not?
so anyway, good evening to both of you again. Now, okay, face up front now, and hope you guys had everyone in chat, and hope you two had a good weekend, restful and peaceful and productive and everything else.
Well, I guess I did. Yeah. Not restful.
Oh, well,
Not at all.
mine was eventful, but restful as well.
That's good. Yeah, it's been raining here pretty much the whole weekend. So yeah, he's very restless.
Oh, so he hasn't been outside much.
No, not really. So try to entertain him as best I can. In the house.
I'll
But
take him out.
there's only so much you can do with a 70+ pound dog.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Put your raincoat on and take him out.
How old?
It's funny. He turns 5 next month, and I turn 10 times 5 next month.
On what day?
His birthday is on the 22nd.
My sister has a birthday on the 20th.
And mine's earlier in the month, and I'll just leave it at that.
I think I know what day it is.
Yeah, you probably know.
Mhm.
And Silver Wolverine is here. Good evening.
Hey.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate you joining in on the chat. So, from the thumbnail that I put up for tonight's show, I wanted to kind of elaborate maybe a little bit about that and kind of remind people just in general that, wherever you go and purchase stuff online, make sure you have, your password up to date. And a lot of sites, they now use like a 2-point verification process, where they either email you or they text you a code. You got to go back into the site to put in before you can log in. So have multi-layers to protect your accounts and your credit cards and your banking information and all that jazz, because people, these hackers or whoever they are, they're just so sophisticated now, and it's not funny. And I think I said in the video, PayPal, I can't recall the minimum number of characters, but the maximum is 20.
Mhm.
I recommend you use all 20. Whatever the maximum number of characters, the password for whatever site you're working with, use those maximum numbers.
And change it often, right? You should change it often.
Change them often. Some people say you should write it down. You shouldn't, because what if somebody breaks in your house? But there's let me make an argument about that. There's two things when it comes to that kind of talk. There's probability and possibility. Okay. Is it possible somebody can break into your house? Yes. But what is the probability that somebody's going to break into your house? Okay. So you got to put everything in content. Here's another one. What is the probability of the zombie apocalypse happening? Well, we kind of got a little taste of it in 2020. But what's the I was getting my words mixed up. So what's the possibility? Yes, it could. But the probability of the undead rising? No. So you got to put everything in content. Okay. So off my soapbox. And we have your Indiana Hoosier Stacker.
All-star panel. Holy smokes.
Good to see ya.
Good evening, good sir.
Mike.
And hey, you want to say hi to Hoosier?
Turn your mic
over
on.
here. Say hi to Hoosier. Hoosier's on it. No.
That's another treat.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going off screen. It's just you guys are just gonna watch Marty for the rest of tonight.
Your mic.
See, yeah. Say chief of security. Oh yeah. And by the way, folks, he's 1/4 pit bull, and as you can see, he's an absolute terror, and he's a menace to me.
Always up in your face.
By far some of the best breeds ever. They are so loyal, and they are big, giant, 70+ pound snuggle bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
Anyway,
daughter's got one.
Hoosier, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. I can't stay on very long tonight. I'm actually over here prepping, inventorying my prepping supplies. I haven't done so for a couple years. I need to get an inventory of where I'm at so I can go to the store and stock up in the next couple of weeks. But you can't see it, but I have about 6 square feet of prep over there. Maybe more like 9 square feet of prep over there. So
Getting it
Well,
laid
it's-
out,
Well,
ready to
maybe less,
go.
so if we get hungry, we know where to go.
and that's the canned stuff. That's not even talking about the. I'm planning on starting seedlings and stuff next week as well to start getting things really
good.
prepped.
There you
And
go.
that's actually why I came on here. That's why I want to do this evening is inventory all that stuff over there. But wanted to let you guys know that the channel will be changing gears for this coming season. I mean, yeah, we'll be talking about silver and gold as always, but I'm focusing on prepping. Well, you know what? Actually, hang on a second.
Here, I'm gonna make you big.
You can't really see
There.
much, but way back there in the back room is my prep.
Very good.
Nice.
So that is what I'm focusing on starting this year in personal preparedness, right? And that's actually what I'm going to be focusing on with the channel going forward for the foreseeable future is talking about stacking your preps. And that's just a small piece of it. And
It is.
I've learned here just within the last few months that, I'm always talking about stacking the shinies, stacking the precious metals, silver, gold, but there's more to stacking, folks, than just precious metals.
I agree.
You're stacking food, you're stacking water, you're stacking shelter, protection, your skills. There are so many other things that we out here in the community can discuss in regards to prepping ourselves. And as I said in my video I released this past week, we don't have to be some type of commando where we have a bunker 20 feet in the ground full of years and years and years and years of nothing like it. And like you just said here, John, nothing like the apocalyptic type of situation.
We're not talking about zombie apocalypse.
No,
folks.
we're not talking.
No.
But it's one of those situations where it's better to be prepared and not need it and never need it than to need it and not have it. So it's all about being prepared, and I think everyone out here in this community can relate to that situation in some level or another. I mean, to each their own in regards to a level of preparedness that you want. But like I said, it's better to be prepared than not to be prepared, and I'm going to refocus my channel towards that thinking going forward. Yeah, bingo was great, and we're still going to do bingo, but I want to change gears and get back into why the Hoosier Stacker channel exists to begin with, and that is to educate not only myself but the audience on various levels of preparedness: silver, gold, food, water, clothing, shelter, protection, so on and so forth. Just so many things that we can talk about as a community to really get ourselves prepared.
I agree. Thank you, Andy, for putting Hoosier's link into the
Andy,
chat.
thank you.
We appreciate that. No, I absolutely agree with you. You have to prepare based on where you live, what your situation is, how many in your family. I have extra bags of dog food for, the chief of security here, for example. Like you said, how far, what's the possibility versus your probability,
Mhm.
I mean, are we going to have an EMP from the sun hit us and all electrons go away? It is possible.
It is
Be
possible.
A big solar flare. It's totally possible.
Oh,
But
yeah.
what's the probability? So you got to take everything with a grain of salt. Look, I'm going to use, for example, for me, the big threat here is tornadoes.
Yeah.
And back in 2011, there was a series of 3 tornadoes. They were EF5s that kind of went through northern Madison County, actually not too far from my house. And thankfully, I had some food in the pantry, but it definitely made me think I wasn't ready. If it wasn't for the neighbors around me, we all kind of pitched in and took care of each other and stuff. Yeah, that would have been a little bit more difficult because we lost power. Thankfully, the water was still running, and it was what was it, April? Yeah, April 11th, 2011 is when those three awful EF5 tornadoes came through North Alabama, and we were out of power for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So what did I do? Increased the amount of canned foods I had. I got some freeze-dried food. I've bought, I rotate bottled in the large gallons of water you can buy Sam's Club or Walmart or whatever. I rotate through those, and I bought a little camp stove. And got a couple of canisters of the little camping propane, so I can cook if I need to, because I don't have a grill outside, although that's on the list to get this year. So it's things like that, in my opinion, that you need to prepare for. Whether it's hurricanes, tornadoes, bad thunderstorms, mudslides. Think of the Mother Nature stuff first.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Don't worry about the zombie stuff. Ain't gonna happen, folks.
Well, you know what?
If we get to that point, we got bigger problems.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
You talk about the weather. I mean, down here in southern Indiana, I can get away with, if we have a power outage, I have 2 fireplaces right back here behind me. I got one down here in the studio. I got one upstairs in the front room. I have the ability to heat my house if I ever needed to. Now, I can get away with a few, maybe a rick or 2 of wood a year if I really needed to. But I want to keep maybe a couple dozen bundles of wood in my garage, just in case we have an extended power outage, or we have a situation involving our natural gas going out. Now, Nikki probably has even more concern when it comes to the weather up there. When it comes to cold in particular, how do you prep, Nikki, when it comes to your heating stuff?
Wood, propane, and a generator.
Yeah. See, I'm actually thinking about getting a wood stove, because I used to have a wood stove probably 30 years ago. I had a wood stove when I was a whole hell of a lot poorer than I am today. And I used to heat with wood, and I wish I would have never gotten away with that wood stove.
Stoves, more of a pellet stove.
Yeah. I haven't looked into the pellet stoves. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, woods, because these fireplaces are fine, but the problem is they lose so much heat.
You're gonna be able to heat one room usually, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I can close off the rest of the house and heat up the house with heat up that 1 or 2 rooms with the fireplace. But the heat, you lose so much heat in the fireplace unless you have an insert. You lose so much heat with your standard fireplace that's not very efficient. So
your heat's going up.
Everything's going straight up. So
yeah, but that's one thing I was glad we did when they built the house.
Thermodynamics.
They wired the generator to the house, so that way I can just turn it on at the breaker.
Okay, is it an auto start or do you have to start it manually?
It's auto. Well, you could do both. You could do either way.
Is it propane fueled or gas?
No, that's the only thing I wish we would have done is solar, but it's gas.
Okay. See, if I ever go in with a propane, going with the generator, it's going to be at least a dual fuel, at least propane, because I have tanks of propane out in my garage as well.
Right.
And that will allow me to get by. It's nothing of any long term, but allows me to get by until I get other resources going. Right.
Right.
So,
one thing too is first aid supplies. Do you guys have first aid supplies?
Yeah.
I do. And
antibiotics.
even for him.
Yeah.
Do you want to be on camera again?
Well, see, that's another thing you think about, John, is, you do have to, if you have animals, you have pets, you have to take care of them too. I actually stock up in dog and cat food here as well for the same reason, because, unless I'm going to share the food with them, which I'm sure they won't mind.
No, they love you for that.
Oh yeah.
Daddy, I'll eat that. Sure. I'll finish your plate.
And then you got Mrs. Coinker, who lives out in the middle of the woods. She's got all sorts of resource to wood there.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, real quick, let me catch up here. And Mrs. Coinker, thanks for joining us. What are the possibilities? Hey, good evening. Thanks for joining us. And there was someone else. Was it Neophyte Stacker? Good evening. Thanks for joining us. this evening. Yeah, I agree. You need how many, members in your family there are, what is, the worst situation that could happen. And 9 times out of 10, it's still, something weather related.
Mhm.
So you need to
You're right.
plan according to where you live because it's not all the same.
The worst thing that could happen is to be fully prepped, and then your whole family shows up because they know you're prepped. Your supplies went from 6 months to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, depending on the size of your family and stuff too.
Yeah.
For when it comes to my family, it's basically a family of 5. Myself, Mrs. Who, my 2 daughters, and my daughter's new husband. So I have a family of 5 now to take care of. 2 of the daughter and husband are moved out. That's still my other daughter and the 2 of us left in the family. But if something would ever happen to the point where we would need to, think about the bad situation, all of them are going to be coming back to the house and hanging out here for a while. So I have, if it's just one, or if it's just myself, Mrs. Who, and my older daughter, we probably have about 3 months in the pantry right now. Yeah, get 2 more people in here and cut that in half.
Oh yeah, easy.
So
would you be able to do any hunting in your area?
not in the immediate area. I would have to go about 10 to 15 miles out into the country because I live in a somewhat city area or suburb area. So I would have to go about 10 to 15 miles out to get into something real enough to really hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You're talking about protection now. It's also hunting, and I am wanting to get a crossbow. I think a crossbow. I can't pull back on a compound bow for nothing. I rather have a crossbow and reusable boats than ammo. Now, granted, it's a little bit more convenient. You can shoot further with rifles and whatnot. And I'll still have my rifles, but I want a compound bow because at least as long as you don't lose your boat, you can repurpose everything a lot more easier than you can with ammo. At least you don't have to reload everything if you have a compound bow or a crossbow.
In my backyard, so we could just actually shoot.
Crayola.
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason I started giggling when you said crossbow is I went straight to the TV show about the zombies. I was watching it for
Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead. Yeah, who's that character who's kick butt with the crossbow? And I was like, that's you.
Well, see, if you think from the practical standpoint, if you have the bolts, if you have your crossbow, yeah, you need to have supplies to repair your crossbow. As long as you keep your boats in well supply, and as long as you keep them sharp, you can keep reuse them if you don't lose them, or if you don't permanently damage them. You can reuse them. So, for me, it's a whole lot more easier to cock back a crossbow from the ground up. That's how you do a crossbow than to pull back. I just can't pull back. My shoulder can't handle it.
No, a couple of years ago, they opened a Cabela store here in Huntsville, and I actually got a seasonal job with them. So I worked for them like the opening year, and then that following Christmas, I went back and worked for them. And yeah, the way they make the bolts now for crossbows, yeah, you could get them, either super light or super heavy, different, heads, for them, and depending. You could configure those bolts in such a way that they're super durable and very reusable.
I haven't really looked into the pricing or the variances out there yet. I just know that that's going to be a prep because I think it's going to be more practical to have should a bad situation occur long term. I think it's going to be more practical to have something reusable than something that you have to reload like a rifle or whatever. Unless you have a lot of brass.
Yeah. Well,
benefits
another
of a
thing is,
crossbow.
a lot of our friends out here, they live in certain states, but generally, a crossbow is more likely easier to get than the pew-pews, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna
leave it at that. What are you going to say, HVAC?
This is much quieter, and if you got to use a crossbow, your neighbors don't know.
I've heard that. I've heard that the crossbows you can hunt very stealthily with a crossbow.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a
Yeah.
whole lot of sound. Now that compared to a compound bow, I don't know, but obviously they don't make nearly as much noise. But you can hunt a lot more stealth with a crossbow.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hoosier Stacker has watched season 1, 2, and 3 of The Walking Dead.
I have never watched one of those
I have
seasons.
not seen that show either.
I have never seen that show ever.
You both need to watch it. Well, see, I stopped watching it because about fourth, fifth season, it just seemed like it's the same story over and over. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm done. Actually, when the main character left the show, that's when I stopped. I was just like, okay, he was kind of the anchor while I was watching the show, and they,
Well, that's what usually happens after about the second or third season. Things start going downhill in regards to a show. So after about the second or third season, I'm over it.
And then what happened? They did a spinoff. They did a second series off of it, Fear the Walking Dead. I'm like, how did they do that? Then again, I watch Star Trek and look at all the iterations for that.
But how much?
That's
But how
great.
much stuff have you seen from Star Trek that is now practical today? If you think about it,
Okay.
let's talk about the stuff that they used to fantasize in Star Trek. Exactly.
Hoosier from the Dawn. Hoosier from the Dawn. Come in.
Yeah,
Look,
I
I know
haven't seen that either.
that was next.
indicators. Okay.
I have not seen that show either.
Cloaking technology. And what's that iterated into? Stealth.
Right.
The F-22, the F-35, the stuff that's being made overseas. Cloaking device is actually stealth technology, And believe it or not, I can't remember the university, but they are working on a transporter. They had the ability to move a photon of light from one point in the laboratory to the other instantaneously.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, so I saw that.
So technically speaking, they did, transport something. Now that's a photon of light that they moved. The key, the next, what they really got to get to is something with mass. You know what I mean? So if they can get there, but they're in the right direction. So transporter technology is on its way. And now you got the nerd talking. At the University of Huntsville, the physics department had a guest lecturer come in, and he actually talked about the feasibility of warp drive.
Wow.
I know they've seen a lot of talk about warp drive here lately.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they may not call it warp drive in reality, but it's basically that's what it is.
Well, no, he actually used.
Are they going to use the word
drive.
warp? Okay.
Yeah, he used the term warp drive in his lecture, and it's kind of a buzz phrase with all those astrophysicists and everything.
I mean, technically, you are warping time space around an object, so yes, it is considered warping. But then you start getting into astrophysics, like you said, then you start talking about those type of things. And it's like, yeah, exactly, yeah.
I'll leave the hyperdrive to that.
Because I tell you what, if they perfect that technology, stealth will be right there, if not before. Because if you think about it, if you can bend light around an object, you're basically cloaking that object because you're bending the light around the object, and that's what a warp drive is. That's what warp is you're bending time and space around an object. Yep. If you can do that, then you're already beyond the stealth mode abilities of having cloaking. So, okay, geek's over. I'm done.
Hey, to go back to the stacking part, here's a suggestion I have. Fiat.
Yeah.
You need to have we talk about stacking gold, silver, you need to have a stack of fiat because in my case, I was out of power for 2 weeks. If I didn't have those stash of cash that I had, and I did have to go out and get a few things. If it wasn't for that, how am I going to buy the stuff that I need unless I ask somebody to, borrow or cover me? Because no power. That means no debit cards, no credit cards, no banks. All the banks and credit unions were closed because they can't do any transactions without the computers, right?
Yeah.
So you need to keep.
Well, they can, but that requires them to actually use a book and a pen and actually document stuff in a ledger.
Generation Z.
I know. I know. So it's doable, but it's not practical today. But it's doable.
So
Well,
I would
probability
argue-
and possibility.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, possibility, probability.
It's probable, but it's a practical. No. Why? We have to use it. What's a ledger?
Can anybody
Accounting
read
101. Get back
cursive?
to it.
No, they
Oh,
can't read
no.
cursive. That's the thing. They can't.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Secret code with a between.
I
us,
guess they
our
don't even
generation.
teach. I guess they don't even teach
No.
cursive anymore, do
They
they?
don't. Now, I had to teach my daughter, so I had a tutor teacher, or she wouldn't be able to, read or write. So, no, not anymore.
Wow.
From talking with my niece and nephew, they learn just enough cursive. They only learn the letters in their first and last name so they can
For
sign
signature.
contracts
Yep.
and stuff like
Wow.
that. That's it.
Yep.
Not the whole alphabet, just the letters in their name, first and last
Wow.
name. That's it.
Hmm.
And that's too bad, I think.
Yeah. It's a funny story. Miss Gen X, he doesn't mind if I share this. He was at a museum. I think it was at Gettysburg, or because he's like a big, he's in the Civil War, so he's at some kind of Civil War museum, and he's reading these like letters and documents from the time, and they were all written in cursive. And his daughter came up and said, "What are you doing, Dad?" And I'm reading this letter, and she was like looking and go, "You can read that?
Oh man.
I know. It's sad.
Really?"
Wow.
I mean, it's going to be lost. It really is. I mean, like so many of the like Native American Indian tribes, they're losing their nationality. They're losing their native tongues. I mean, how many of those Indian tribes have lost their, the Cherokee and all that, the Navajos? I mean, if it wasn't for the code talkers, the Pacific War could have been really, that could have been they were a game changer out there. And I hate using that term, but they were talking, I think it was Navajo, and the Japanese can't decode that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're calling in artillery support and calling in the planes to drop bombs and stuff, and they're talking in what the Cherokee language, or the Japanese are like,
What
Yeah.
is this?
Yeah.
and I hate
You're
to see
cheating.
stuff like that lost, and cursive is just it's the next thing that's going to be lost. And anyway, off that soapbox. So that's twice. Oh,
You're on a roll.
Go, John, go.
well, no, this is actually kind of refreshing. Not talking about coins and stuff like that.
Well,
Usually-
we can
usually
talk
I
about
have people who
we can talk about
are
that.
experts. I don't know squat, man. All I know is now. Well, jeez, how long I've been doing this now? Almost 2 years now, going on 2, I guess. Nick,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you've known me the longest from everyone here. Yeah,
We'll get over too.
I still got so much to learn.
But that's what makes it fun, right?
Well,
It's
yeah,
Yeah.
To have
know.
more to learn. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
like I
will-
said earlier, it's not just about the shinies, folks.
Mm.
And we can sit here and show off
Mhm.
gold all day long. I mean, I'm restarting my gold stacking because I've been off of it for the last couple of years. So I'm getting back into that. But like I said, here within the last few months, I came to the realization there's so much more to stacking than just precious metals. And what are you doing, Gypsy, besides rubbing it in?
Hey. So you're still gonna have bingo. So hold on to my balls, right?
I just cleaned my balls yesterday, just so you know.
Good. Yeah, I gotta keep them clean. You gotta keep them proper.
They
Gotta hold them tight.
they were dirty.
hold them tight.
You probably can't tell, but they were dirty
Whoa.
right there.
Whoa.
Sorry, Nick.
Let's throw him in. Show us how dirty your balls were.
How dirty they were this dirty.
Wow.
The yellow balls and the white balls, you could definitely tell the dirt layer was there. I had no idea. I got done cleaning the balls.
Wait.
The bingo
you're
balls,
saying-
Nikki. Sorry. The bingo balls. They are much cleaner now than they were
You're not
yesterday.
showing us the blue balls. There. What did he? They got one
Well,
in.
he did say the white
The blue balls
dirty.
weren't too bad, but they got cleaned. All the balls got cleaned.
You just you got me.
Being of Asian descent, I am allowed to get away with saying something like that.
Hey, Miss Coin Crew. Hey, Spudley.
So yeah, the show is going to be changing up. We're still going to have the Saturday show. We're still going to have 6 p.m. Eastern time ish. Saturday show. But we're going to break it down. We're going to have the first half of the show is going to be talking about stacking your preparedness, and that's going to be that's basically going to be the title of that first half of the show is stacking your preparedness. And then after we spend whatever time, I'm guessing maybe an hour, but it could go short, it may go long, whichever. Then after we get done talking about stacking your preparedness, then we're going to change gear into Silver Stacker Bingo. That's what we're going to do going forward, starting February 11, I think.
So do we still play with the same numbers? Because mine stink.
Well, I'm going to give the opportunity for everyone to get new numbers the first couple of shows.
Yes, I want new numbers.
I need new numbers.
And no, it's not going to be 3.14159265.
There you go.
The balls don't go out that far, John.
Yeah, the stack of preparedness, that's always good stuff. I mean, Silver or Scorpion's done it. Nick's even done a couple with their hubby and stuff with the food.
Mm-hmm. And I think everyone and SSR just released a video today showing his pantry. I'm like, that is rock solid. So nice. I think everyone out here, regardless if you're a stacker or a prepper or a collector, everyone needs to start getting into it more often. We're seeing the prices go up. We're seeing the shortages going on.
Yeah,
it's just time to start really focusing on doing what we are. What we do out here as a community when it comes to being prepared for whatever situation occurs. It could be something as a local, personal SHTF. You get laid off.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Go
all the way back to being. What if you get laid off?
Yeah.
What if something happens at your house? What if something happens to your neighborhood, your city, your region, your world, your country? I mean, it can be John, it goes right back to your spirit influence, like you've mentioned before. It goes right back to that. You're right here. Your situation could be here. It could be out here.
I mean, we did see it during 2020, right? I mean,
yeah.
Paper, there was a lot of things we couldn't get on the shelves.
I just learned to keep toilet paper.
Have it, so it's
just
exactly being prepared and having a stock so you don't have to run to the grocery store every time you need something because it might not be there.
And you know what's funny about that, Nikki, is when growing up, me being 52 years old and seeing the kids, seeing me growing up and my parents, how they used to do what they did back in the day. It didn't really click to me as if that being a preparedness thing. I thought that was just how we did things. Right. Now we're to the point where it's like, wake up, people. This is what we have to do forward.
There's something to being self-sufficient.
And I think that has been lost in the last 20 or 30 years. My kids, they didn't understand why we did what we are, why we do what we do.
Right.
Now they understand. And I think that's what we need as elders. That's what we need to do as elders. I know. That's what we need to do as elders to lead our kids.
Well,
the elders right there.
Yeah, I'm kind of that age now too.
He's the old guy.
I'm the old guy, I think.
Well, unfortunately, everyone's saying we've taken this from COVID, but realistically, couldn't we have taken it from like the Great Depression, the things that people had to do back then just to survive? But
I think it wasn't in our minds though, because we didn't live through it. So now that
that's the thing.
Something, we can kind of see the importance of it.
We got spoiled though. We got, privileged. We got all these things. It's like, oh no, let's not keep a stockpile of this. I mean, I kid about toilet paper, but I mean, look at just the simple things like rice and beans that you couldn't find anywhere.
Well, here's
simple things.
Here's a question for everyone out here in the chat and out here on town. Who's got a bidet now?
Who's got what? A bidet?
A bidet. I got one.
Not yet.
Actually, I got two. One for each bathroom.
That's fancy.
I have a bidet.
That's really fancy.
I mean, I have a bidet now. I also have toilet paper, but should something happen, I got bidets.
Now, what if you don't have water? What if you don't?
That's why I've got the prep of water over here, back here in the pantry.
Because we're on septic.
I'm
sorry. If our car goes out, we can't flush the toilet.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
That's another thing to think about. That's another thing they think about. Okay, John, is okay, fine. We have all of our preps for intake, food, water. What about your outtake? What about the other end?
True.
And that's
You
where
gotta
the
be prepared
generator
for that
comes
too.
in handy. That's where the generator comes in handy because I don't have to worry about that. But if not, you have to have enough bottle of water on hand to,
I mean,
flush.
do you know how to make a toilet out of a 5-gallon bucket? Well,
Yeah,
there's
but
plenty
do
of
I
videos
want
out there.
to? Do I want to? No.
Oh,
No,
they
because
got creative in Iraq, but I'm sure it would
those
have
guys
to
are
come up with
creative when they're out
more.
hunting. They don't want to come back in to have to go to the, they're very creative when they're out in the woods.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
And that goes back to when I used to
Thunderbox.
camp all the time. When I used to camp, it was just to have fun, hang out with the family and stuff. But in hindsight, it's basically bugging out.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it's only for a couple 3 days, but it is a prelude to bugging out. I have camping supplies. If I need to bug out, I hope I never have to. But if I need to bug out, I got a full thing of camping supplies ready to go. I just have to run back a truck.
The unfortunate thing, though, the younger generations, think about how many of those people have never been camping, do not know how to do those, simple things, fishing, camping, building a fire, there's a lot of things they don't know how to do.
Yeah. And it goes back to what you said, Gypsy. It's just people have gotten so not self-sufficient. That's been lost probably in the last I would say in the last 40 years or so. So I would say late 70s, early 80s. That's when things started. It just seemed like things started to become more reliant on other people, other things than yourself.
And unfortunately, technology started to come off too. So we relied on that more and more. Video games, sitting around playing that instead of going out and
learning your
all
skills.
the nature things we used to do as kids, playing and whatever.
Well, parents spend time with your children too because they want to spend time with. Take them out to the woods, teach them. Take them camping, spend some time with the family. That always, that's how I learned.
Yeah,
I don't know what right now, unless I have bug spray. But
there's lots of homemade remedies for bug spray out there too. You just have to research
and I
it.
have been dabbling into some of that as well. What works, what doesn't work. Special plants and all the whole 9 yards. But I mean, there's a variety of oils that you can use.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you just have to. It goes back to being prepared. You have to. One of the things to be prepared with is your knowledge and your skills.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's tremendous, and that's been lost as well. So, yeah, there is a lot to talk about for sure.
Yes, that's going to be very interesting.
I would like to collaborate with you, Mr. Hoosier Stacker, because that's based on. I'm an Eagle Scout. I was in the Boy Scouts for a very long time. Did all kinds of fun stuff there, and plus my limited military training. Another real quick, and I guess we'll move on. When you lose power, you lose what? The internet, right? No Google, right?
Yeah, it's true.
There's something to be said about having books, and this was a gift given to me by a retired chief petty officer in the Navy. And if you can read it, right? Ship's medicine chest and medical aid at sea. Yeah, I know it's at sea.
That sounds that's very interesting.
In a way, that's good because when you're at sea, all you got is what's on the boat.
Exactly.
Right.
So if you don't have everything at home, you're kind of, you're an island unto yourself. So you got to make do with what you got. So I'm kind of grateful he gave me this.
I mean, really, you can find a lot of your medicine in nature. You just got to know where to look and where to find it. I mean, what you can use and what you can't use.
Don't tell the pharmacies that you said that.
Oh yeah, all over you.
And my dad being in the Quartermaster Corps later down the road, he gave me this. I don't know why, but I thought it's so cool. I got this. And Mr. Resnick, you know what this is. This is the FM 21-76 Survival, Evasion, and Escape manual from the Department of the Army.
Nice.
What was that date? 1969? Yeah.
I take it talks about how to build out and bug out.
Yeah, well, it's got a lot of survival skills in here. Like, here's pictures of edible plants
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So, it isn't about just getting away from the enemy. It's talking about,
Did the Boy Scouts also have the same type of literature as well? I thought they did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of that stuff.
Well, I don't know how the Scouts are today, and that's I have opinions about that. But when I was in the Scouts, when I made Eagle Scout, the Boy Scout handbook, and then the field manual, that's kind of a companion to it. And then that field manual was actually more of the how you do lashings and build things out of wood and rope, and different types of campfires to build if you want to do certain things, like just boil water or just to cook or just.
I remember them talking about in the lectures. I remember them talking about first aid too.
Hey, Rocky Mountain Bear.
Lots of first aid, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all remember the Foxfire book series? Did y'all ever go through those?
I've not heard of that.
Look those up. They're like mountain books. Appalachian people, all the old medicines, all the old foods, how to can, how to hunt, how to first aid. I just pulled it up here. So there's 12 of them. And we went through some of them actually when we was in Boy Scouts. We kind of used that as a reference to the Boy Scout guide and dead on. But all this old information was talking about that nature provides all the medicines that we need. It's all right there. It's all right there. It's like the exploited version of Farmer's Almanac. You ever look at that book? Farmer's Almanac's really cool. It's got a bunch of all your farming stuff in there. It's got a first aid stuff.
Nick, it's been 9 to 9, Nick. It's been 9 to 9.
9 to 9.
Though.
9 to 9. Oh.
It's been 9 to 9 for like.
Oh, has it? I just checked the score. Cowboys and 49ers.
But the Niners are moving it right now.
Hello, John Jacobs. Good to see you, John.
JJ, what's up?
JJ.
Hey.
Rocky Mountain Bear. You probably already popped in, but
hey, Rocky.
Yeah. I still
right now, like everyone thinks that they could find everything on the internet on Googling and stuff. But yeah, we were talking about it the other day at work. Like I work at Lowe's, so even building anything, you used to have the manuals at Home Depot and at the hardware stores of how to do simple things, how to build something, how to plant something, how to put something together. They don't have those anymore. It's all online.
Yeah.
So internet goes down, though, you're not going to know what to do. They used to have those manuals for your cars. Every car had a different manual and stuff.
Yep.
Chilton. What was the other one?
Chilton was the big one.
Yeah, there's another one, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
There's another one though. Yeah.
I've got a Chilton for my pickup.
People used to love those manuals.
And I bet those when those books were around and when those vehicles are around, you didn't have to worry about them not starting after an EMP as well.
True.
They didn't didn't have the electronics back in those days. Points. What's a point?
Well, it's weird. Like,
what's a distributor cap?
Yeah, it's called.
You talk to mechanics that have been around for like 30 years. When they first started mechanics and working on cars, it was all mechanical and everything. But now they have to go back every 5 years and get more and more electrical training. Just kind of keep up with everything.
Yeah.
And like basically most of the car now is all computer.
Yeah, and you've seen what happened in the last year or so with the circuit chip shortage.
Yeah.
A lot of the auto manufacturers ship cars with, with add-on features that didn't work because they didn't have the electronics to make it work. So,
you'll go out there. If you go out there and search out there, you'll see all sorts of videos out there where vehicles are just parked everywhere, waiting for parts or waiting for chips in particular.
Well, I still talk about here in California, they made it by 2028 that you can't sell any more non electrical vehicles.
And how's that going to work when you guys can't plug in your car all day long? Or you
but
guys?
This last summer, we have like flex alerts and we have like power shortages.
Right. So what's going to happen then?
The infrastructure's not there yet. That's the thing that I don't understand. That they want this mandate in place, but they don't have the infrastructure to support it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we can go to complete electric vehicles in the United States. I have the solution. Nuclear power plants.
There you go.
Okay.
They shut a bunch down, didn't they?
Net zero carbon emissions, folks.
But you have to
power plants make no carbon emissions. And people are like, it makes all this radioactive mumbo jumbo. the life of a nuclear reactor, the amount of nuclear waste it makes would roughly fit a 1,200 square foot house. And the way they store it is incredible. Okay, it's filled with concrete, crushed glass, polymers. It goes into a steel, casing, and then concrete's poured around that, and then it goes into another steel casing, concrete's poured around that. So it's literally 3 layers of steel and concrete and this glass and polymer material that's mixed in with the hot stuff, and it congeals, and it's now one solid slug, and it's totally shielded. You could literally stand next to one of these modules of waste material, and you get more exposure from the sun than you would from that waste, because it's contained cheap. That well.
Cheap? Wouldn't you say it's cheaper?
Nuclear power? Oh yeah. I mean,
a lot cheaper.
Once you get past the initial cost of building the reactor and all that, these reactors have 30, 40 plus year life. I mean, example, look at USS Nimitz. Look at the USS Enterprise. I'm talking about the carriers. They lasted, Nimitz is going to retire soon. 50 years on those reactors. And how many times around the world those 2 aircraft carriers have been around? And look how well our U.S. Navy operates nuclear reactors. Now, we've lost 2 submarines, but they had nothing to do with the reactors.
The thing is, though, it goes all the way back to your media and how they don't like something that's good. They always look for the negative when it comes to media these days, and as such, that's why they always taunt about, well, nuclear is so bad. Well, okay, fine. If you're going to have that argument, let's have this argument. Air traffic control. A plane crashes and hundreds of people dies. Yes. However, how many people die per day from vehicle accidents? In a ratio between vehicle accidents and airplane crashes, there is a very large disparity between the two. Same situation with nuclear power and nuclear accidents. It happens, but the disparity is so great. But the media doesn't look at that. They look at the now. They look at, well, this happened. This is so bad. Don't get me going. Don't get me going.
The question, is it better to make batteries for cars or to use gas?
Gas.
Well, your energy source, you're just moving the energy source up the chain.
Right, but to dispose of the batteries, is that good on the environment?
They actually make these new not ion batteries, or I want to say they're graphite batteries.
But I
haven't heard of them yet.
I haven't heard of them either.
Well, I don't think it's graphite, but anyway, it's a new technology where the batteries, well, it's for solar, so they're deep cycle, I'm sure, but these batteries, they don't have nearly as much hazardous waste involved. And they're very, very, very light in comparison to what your typical deep cycle batteries are today, that are being used for your solar arrays and stuff. But they're very expensive right now, which of course they always are to begin with. But as time goes on, prices will come down. It's just a matter of time, right?
Yeah.
But you can mount these batteries up on. Maybe Tesla uses these in their battery packs on their walls. I don't know, but anyway, they're very expensive. But the prices. The biggest hindrance right now is the price right now. In time, that will come down, and hopefully the technology improves along the way too, where they can have more capacity. But that's coming. Sodium. That's right, Genex. That's what it is. Sodium.
Sodium ion.
Yeah.
Well,
very light. They have capacity, but I don't think they have a whole lot of capacity yet. But they're working on it.
Well, doctors say we all got to cut back on the sodium, so why not use that salt to don't make batteries instead of going into our food?
Go.
Sprinkle that on
Problem solved. Our health crisis solved. Our electrical problem solved.
Right.
Transfer sodium from the table, from the kitchen table to the production line. Yes, I wish I had my stream deck set up. 5 minutes of genetics. Poo on you.
Well, hey, I'm going to go ahead and get on out here. Like I said, I still got my inventory to do. I've been putting it off for like 6 months now. I really got to get in there and start taking my inventory. So I'm going to get on out here.
Hey,
thanks for having me up, and good to see everyone.
All right.
Good one.
Bye.
Hoosier.
When your show
Thanks,
is on,
Hoosier.
so we can watch.
You what?
You want to tell us when the show's on?
I'm debating between February 11th or February 18th. I've been off for about 2 months now. I took some time off, gave HVAC and Steel Ringer and myself some time off.
Nice.
But we need to get back on the bandwagon. So I'm thinking maybe the 11th or the 18th. Stay tuned on that. We are going to have a new full-time guest starting up as well. So we're going to be. I'm not going to say who that's going to be yet. So it's a surprise.
Squirrel?
Nope, not squirrel. Oh,
It's not
man.
Marty, is it?
You what?
Is it Marty?
No. Nope.
Touchdown.
You may or may not know who this person is, but he is very well known in other genres out here in YouTube. So.
Very interesting. We'll have to tune in and see.
So that's coming up as well. And yeah, like I said earlier, we will continue on with Silver Stacker Bingo, but we're actually going to take a Stackers Gathering, which has always been the name of the show. And we're going to split up into a stacking preparedness or a stacking preparedness segment, and then a bingo segment after that. So stay tuned for that.
Appreciate you being on. Hoosier.
And with that, I want to get on out here. Boulay, hit me up if you're interested on collaborating.
Preps? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Hit me up, and I'll see you all later.
Thanks, Hoosier.
Later.
If any one of our mods, if you don't mind putting up Hoosier's link to his channel in the chat, would appreciate it, please.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Gypsy, I think you're a mod, aren't you? And I think you are too, Nick.
I'm not logged in on the
I'm not
YouTube
sure.
side.
Okay, yeah, I'm not either. I think the chief of security wants to come back on camera.
Well, he did very well.
I think he's saying, Daddy, I want to go outside.
Huh? Yeah, there you go. What?
Oh,
I want to go outside, Daddy.
Daddy loves you. Okay.
it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, like I said,
16
if this
to
whole
9. It'll do it
coin
back.
San
thing,
Fran.
whatever, doesn't work out, I'm turning this into a dog channel.
And I think that would dog and
Yeah.
cats and all, they do very well on YouTube and on Twitter, and
Yeah.
they get some famous.
I know, it's
Oh,
crazy
yeah.
how that works out. I'm taking down all the
I
Star
mean, I
Wars
even have
stuff.
this
Forget
show on the Channel Hall of Fame.
everybody was asking for him. So
I think it's cute. Oh,
Shroom
sorry.
Day.
I took it down too quick.
That's what she said.
Oh,
Oh,
here we go. Here we
For
go.
the- wait, where's my stream deck? Gen X, where's my stream deck?
Boom.
Oh, my
Oh, wait. Oh, no. Oh,
Hey,
sorry.
Shroom Day. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Wow, this is awesome. This is awesome. Yeah, this is I'm looking forward to seeing what Mr. Hoosier Stacker has for us.
Well, it all kinds of ties in, right? All of it
does.
together, being prepared as far as financially and
Mhm,
prepping, and I mean,
mhm.
it all ties in. So I think it's going to be a fun watch.
Yeah, it's a good thing to
Yeah.
cover. I mean, we got a great community here, and everybody's so focused on metals. It's like, and it's true. You can't eat it. You can't boil it and
Mm-mm.
drink it. Well, you could boil it and drink the water, I guess, but probably wouldn't taste very good.
Probably not.
But yeah, you got to have your food, got to have your toiletry, you got to have your medicines, backup heat source. If you got a generator, maybe you can run your air conditioner if you're really spoiled. That'd be awesome.
I mean, you can do it all smart too. You can buy them, in bulk. You can buy them when they're on sales. You can buy when you buy them on your time, and hold them. You can do what you need to do or want to do, whatever.
Yeah, and you buy this stuff at a reasonable rate. Like Mr. X and I always say, make a budget.
Always.
You don't need to go out
yes.
and spend hundreds of dollars to get every piece of supply. No,
Pace yourself.
when
It
you
doesn't
go
have
shopping,
to be
go buy an extra 2 cans of soup or something like
Right.
that, for example.
Right.
You don't need to, you just build it slowly over time,
slow and steady.
Yep.
Slow and steady.
Slow and steady's going to win the game.
It's
And
like
buy the
everything.
food that you're going to eat. Don't say, ooh, this is going to last a long time, but I got to buy it. I don't like it. You're not going to eat it. It's going to sit there. It's going to go bad.
Mm-hmm.
Get
That
Chef
is so true.
Boyardee stuff. Everybody's going to eat it.
Yeah. Oh my good. They're like a what? Like $1.25 now, even higher than that.
Oh,
Well-
I'm sure higher than that. Yeah.
I think there's going to come a time where we're not going to be able to get the stuff off the shelves, and we need to learn how to grow our own food.
Oh, look.
and to have community.
Oh, looky here. Look at
Yeah,
this.
dang.
Now that, I
Yeah.
like
More
that.
Even just buying, like I was saying earlier, rice,
coffee.
beans,
Of
flour.
course.
Oh gosh, that is like number one.
It is.
Hashtag,
It is.
hashtag coffee.
Yeah, coffee, yes.
Yes,
That is
100%.
definitely something
But
to
flour,
strive for.
rice, beans, different things that'll
Oh, yeah.
last a long time. But plus, you can make a lot of things out of it.
hmm
Mhm.
Cross utilization is a
I
great.
mean, when you're hungry, you'll pretty much eat anything, though, right? I mean,
True.
when you're
Squirrels.
desperate.
We've already had squirrels as a meal here in the chat already. So, yeah, we'll eat anything.
And I was just watching something earlier. I mean, whether you like it or not, bugs do have more protein than, beef and other things. And they have less of a carbon footprint, and they take less water to actually produce.
What's the last bug you ate, Gypsy Wolves?
I don't know. Probably a fly when my head was out the window. But other than that,
How could we let him out?
No, wait. Mr. Gen X Collectibles, what was the last insect that you ate? And I know he did.
cricket.
Because he's been overseas, the
Oh,
Far East a lot, China, Japan, Korea, Philippines, that realm of the world. And he's been over there. I know he's eating bugs. And Mr. Resnick probably is eating bugs too.
Yeah, well, I was watching the show, and he was basically just doing a little stir fry, and instead of adding like the shrimp or whatever at the end, he just adds a bunch of crickets, and
Yep.
does it all up.
Believe.
Grub, is that like a mealworm type?
No,
Oh.
grub's like a worm out in the woods.
Oh yeah, I saw that on the Alone channel, like that show Alone.
Yeah, I
where
think
they
you
go-
get them underneath like the bark or something. Usually,
I know what that is now, and that's disgusting. They're like they're like big. You can like fat. They're gonna,
Well, see, that's why you stock up on ketchup and barbecue
There you
sauce,
go.
and brown
Right.
mustard,
Condiments.
and soy sauce, teriyaki sauce.
but we'll just say you have to run. You got to be able to carry a lot of stuff with you, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to take the ketchup, so because other times you're not going to be able to stay in one spot.
Beef jerky.
Beef jerky. There you go.
And you can make that from deer meat. My husband's made deer jerky.
Oh, yeah.
So what the condiment you really need is salt, which adds a preservative and everything dried.
But we did get some from them. We got big salt jugs like this because it also helped preserve food, right?
Yeah, and
It will.
you also have to. It's also depend on the type of salt too.
Right.
You just can't use regular
Iodized.
iodine table salt. No. There's levels of different salts.
Absolutely, yes.
Your Himalaya pink salts, your kosher salts. You got your salts that's used for pickling. That's all I know, and there's much more to it than that.
Looks like Angel has experience in frying up bugs. She says, just fry them up. Like, she knows how.
There you go.
Some batter and some oil and
Hey, this is the South. They fry everything.
everything, even their vegetables, okra.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
I had
fried
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 okra
okra.
yesterday.
Oh my gosh, my kid
Oh.
loves that. My husband loves fried okra.
And
Awesome.
then a nice cream gravy over it.
And
Hadn't tried
Twinkies, they
that.
fry
We'll do
Twinkies.
that.
I mean, they fry Oreos.
Twinkies, Oreos,
Bacon.
yeah, the ho-hos.
Oh,
Well, I've seen them put
Oh.
bacon on ice cream.
Oh,
whoa.
I mean, that's a joke. That's just a joke.
You do you, Don. Okay.
That's right. What he really wants to come on camera again. I've created a diva.
A diva.
He comes running back in here.
He's
Who you
noticing.
talking
He
to,
wants to see
Daddy?
what's
Who you
going on. Who has your attention? He knows that your attention's elsewhere.
Yeah,
True.
yeah, because he can hear me talking to you guys, but he's
Right.
like,
So he's like, I need some attention now. It's my
it's
turn.
like, well, where are the other humans? Well,
That's
anyway, hey guys,
Indeed.
I usually like to keep the show to an hour because it's Sunday night and
Yep.
school night for most of us and everything like that. But I really do appreciate Nick and HVAC and Gypsy for coming on, and of course to Mr. Hoosier Stacker for coming on in and giving us an update on his channel. And I certainly I would like to collaborate any small way I can. What I know from scouts and and my exposure being in the military and being around the military pretty much my entire career. I've done a lot. So yeah, I look forward to some, things like that. And it gives me a chance to kind of broaden this channel out too, because you guys, I'm not doing the numismatic news and information, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not my thing. And I ain't going to do that stuff. There's plenty of people who do it. They do a good job. You stay, let them stay in that lane.
Yeah.
I want to go drive somewhere else.
Right.
So, hey, thank you everybody in the chat. We appreciate you being here tonight. And who would like to exit out first?
I'll go.
Yeah. So,
Y'all be
HVAC.
good. Y'all be safe. Have a great week. And we'll see you next time.
See you later.
Thanks,
Have a
HVAC.
good week. See you guys later.
Bye,
Thanks,
Nick.
Nick. Oh, and there we go. Mr. Wolf.
Oh, this is difficult because I usually say feed the good wolf, but tonight it's more like I need a little help. So it's going to be go Niners.
Thank you, Gypsy. That was really awesome. I actually used to root for the 49ers. So anyway, again, thanks to everyone who came up on panel. Thank you for everybody in the chat. Thanks for being here. Totally off the wall the discussion tonight, and I personally enjoyed it. It was great. Get away from coins and stacking a little bit, the metal stuff, and talk about something different. And definitely look forward to the Hoosiers upcoming content. So with that, everyone have a great week. Have a good evening tonight. And remember to study the first law of thermodynamics, because I want you to transform your energy into a force for good.